Hey everybody, it's Margitt. Welcome to my part 2 fibroid series. This again is my journey through my 10 years of having a fibroid. I am not an expert or a specialist. I just learned a few things along the way that I really wanted to share with you. This was a journey for me. It was a spiritual journey. It was a physical journey, a mental journey. And I learned so much, and I'm so grateful for this that I feel that I had to share the story somehow, and because I feel stories are healing. We can heal each other through our stories. So this is part 2, and I ended the last video around 2010 when I first had gotten diagnosed with fibroids, and I was kind of shrinking them by essential oils. Now I was in 2010, I was becoming 40 years old. Things were going really great. I graduated from the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. I became a health coach. I started a business. My children were switching schools to a place that I loved, and I felt so supported, and I was really happy. My husband started to travel a lot, so there was just a lot more that I was holding. A new school, new business, absence of my partner, and but overall things were beautiful. If people would look at me, they would be like, "Wow, she's got such a beautiful life," and we had worked really hard to have this beautiful life, but I felt like it was just a lot to hold now, and also I was feeling that there was something missing. I had this kind of unhappiness, this underground like sadness, and I was with mixed emotions, thinking, how can I be so ungrateful? How could I be so selfish that I'm not happy? And I didn't understand what it was at the time. So I began to cry. I was still holding a lot, cooking and baking and eating really well, but I felt lots and lots of pressure. And I started to have a stiff shoulder and a stiff neck, and I wouldn't be able to move my neck. It was very, very painful. So my friends had suggested this chiropractor that they went to. And I didn't really like chiropractors. The whole idea kind of freaked me out, but she was very well respected in the holistic kind of community, and so I decided that I would see her to get some relief. And after about 3 times she adjusted me, I would never be able to hold it. I went right back into the spasms. After about 3 times, she finally asked me what was going on in my life. And that was the first time that anyone had really asked me about how I'm doing, and I just began to cry and to say how I'm not happy, and I feel this restlessness. I don't know what it is. I should be happy. And she asked me kind of sternly, she always does things with me quite sternly, how old I am, and I told her, and she said, okay, it's time. You're going through Uranus Opposition. I had no idea what she was talking about, and you need to read this book called The Liquid Life of Sex by Barbara Hand Cloud. And I will put this title of the book if you're interested in the details. This book, Liquid Life of Sex, I think it might have changed the title. It's an older book, but it's still amazing. It talks about the astrological signs in midlife, starting around 40, 50, and 60. I had never heard of anything like this. I was not into astrology at all. I had no idea, but I ate this book up like, oh my God, like candy. It was just cover to cover. I just savored it, and it really started to make sense to me. So from the ages about 38 to 42, we start entering this Uranus opposition, which Uranus, from the point when you're born in your astrological chart, goes on its own cycle, and at about 40, it goes about 180, so you're facing Uranus at this time. And Uranus is showing us about our past, it's showing us about our future, and if we have a purpose or something that we're supposed to explore or to do or to learn in this lifetime, and our higher self is not aligned with that, then shit's gonna hit the fan. And so your life will be shaken up a little bit. And this can happen through a divorce or a career change, an illness, losing something that is meaningful, like a loved one, just something that will shake you up. Now we call this midlife crisis. So we might see our peers getting divorces or buying some big things that will hopefully fill them up. Lots of plastic surgery around this age. To feel youthful or to feel somehow alive. But anyways, it shakes us up and there's sudden changes. And that's exactly what I was going through. It's like I believed that I was having this beautiful life, but in the meantime, there was a lot to hold. There was a lot of change and I wasn't on my path. This was not the life that I thought I dreamed about, and it was happening, but it really wasn't why I'm here. I needed to really go inward and start doing the work from the inside out instead of being always out there. And so that's what it did. It was beginning to bring me home, and I began to work on that for literally the last 7 or 8 years. And so at this time, since I was, trying to hold a lot, my periods got very, very, very crampy, lots of pain, debilitating pain, and lots of blood. And I knew that I had these fibroids, and I did not want to hear the word hysterectomy or procedure or chemical menopause. So I knew that I was holding a lot. I needed to cut some stuff out of my life. And I needed to make some changes. So I wasn't going to go to the OB-GYN. I went to a naturopath. And with a naturopath and lots of reading of books, I started seeing psychics and mediums just to kind of get some answers of what the hell I'm supposed to be doing, again, outside of myself, which I don't do anymore. But I started a shamanic practice. I began to meditate. I began spiritual shamanic journeying. And with that, and with the supportive school that my children were at, with the naturopath and the supplements and all that, I was able to really, I also quit my nursing job, and I also stopped working with my business. I closed up my business. So I was making lots of changes, and when I look back, I don't know if all of those were the changes that were supposed to be made. I would probably make a lot of different changes at this time, but it was enough to get me on a path, and it was able to decrease my pain, my cramping, and bringing my bleeding back to normal again. So about the fibroids is that what I learned from this 2 years is that the more that I'm outside of myself, the more I'm trying to hold more than I can handle and not able to rest and not able to give back to myself, then the bleeding comes back with a vengeance. And the more time I took for myself and was able to get on a routine and to rest, the bleeding went down. So we don't really talk about that this is any kind of healing practice for fibroids or for bleeding in general. I was a heavy cramper, bleeder for, not a bleeder, but like had heavy cramps when I was younger. And when I look back, I think that was the catalyst. That was a way for me to understand that I needed to slow down. I needed to work on my stress level. I needed to come back to myself. But since I didn't have any role models or education of how to take care of myself and go back to my center, that my whole life was outside, I just kept doing that. I didn't know any better. But I feel now there's so many books, things are being written, we're telling our stories, and we're telling our stories of truth. We're not telling our stories of martyrism. How many stories of martyrism have I heard, like, oh, that's what you do, that's how your grandma did it, and it was just like all this martyrism is debilitating, and that's what I was doing because I thought that was the way to do it. But so now I feel that this information is coming out there, and now we just need to bring it back into ourselves and create a practice of self-love and rest and self-care. Because every time I did this, my periods got better, the cramping went down, my cycles were easier. So you can go back to one of my first 5 videos, it was 4 or 5 or whatever, about the moon and the menstrual cycle, where we have that new moon phase where it's a new moon, and when we're in our menses is to really allow us to take rest so that we can be of action throughout the rest of the month, but when it is time for our menstruation, we rest. So I didn't know any of that then. I was getting there, but this was true for me. So there was a lot of supplements and things that I did with the naturopath that she had taught me and that I had been able to learn about that I want to share with you. And I also, in my rites of passage workshops with the girls, we do a sharing where the mothers are able to share what works for them during their menstrual cycles to ease pain and to rest and to just do some really great self-care. So I'm constantly learning about what other women are doing, and it's just fantastic. So I'm going to put that all together in my next video on how to take care of yourself and what to do for bleeding and for cramping during your cycle, and that will be a separate video. And then I'll continue my journey story with part 3 of my fibroid series. So that's what I have planned. I hope you're doing well. If you enjoyed this video at all, please like it. Please leave a comment if you are suffering at all with anything during your menses, if we can help each other out, tell your story. Also, if you really like this video or this channel, please press the subscribe button. I'm totally grateful for that. I really enjoy telling my story. Even the last one that I made, I just am learning. It's continuing to heal me by telling my story. I was able to journal about what I shared with you, and it's just really still teaching me this journey of mine. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate all of your love and support. I will see you in my next video. Take care. Bye.